Fatafat. I'm Abandubash. And looking fairly good for the equity markets. And let's listen in to Krishna Memani speaking from Open.
Well, so I think the good Indian IT companies will survive, and they will have to reinvent themselves. So the point with respect to IT investment is not as a sectoral investment as much as it is finding good companies where we believe they can revive their growth plans because they have the ability to innovate and reinvent themselves. The best story in India is consumption, for sure. However, if you can't find a company that is reasonably valued, then you are basically paying somebody else for coming in. And that's, as an investor, that doesn't really make much sense. So our outlook for consumer sectors is really not that great. It's not a sector that there are companies that we look at, but as a sector, that's not where we are focused on.
All right, that's the take coming in. Consumption is the best story so far. IT companies are likely to revive their growth plans going forward. But let's move right on and kickstart then market Fatafat. A quick look at the equity markets right now as we're holding out at 11,620. The Sensex is up about 60 points or so, and the broad end of the market is looking strong. As we speak, you've got Cipla, Bajaj Finance, Eicher Motors and Infi holding out in the green. Well, we have with us on board Swati Hodkar on the technicals, and my colleague Soumya as well is joining in. Well, let's start off then with the first stock that we're focusing on, and that is with respect to Jet Airways, as the lenders meet has concluded and the lenders are invited an EOI for the stake sale in the company, and this is going to be between the 6th and the 9th of April. Let's take it across to my colleague Ishita Guha, who's tracking the latest.
Well, the State Bank of India, on behalf of all the lenders, have made a big announcement as far as the resolution of Jet Airways is concerned. They have said that they will be inviting expression of interest for the ailing airline on April 6th, which is a Saturday, and will be ending the process, and all the expression of interest have to be submitted by Tuesday. So just a 3-day window for an ailing airline which has a huge debt of more than 8,000 crores here. It looks a little fishy because a 3-day window for any process to go on and expression of interest to be submitted is too short. Besides that, we also question that how is the emergency funding working out for Jet Airways. That was supposed to be on the agenda, but was that not discussed at all? So has the lender consortium got a new buyer here, and this is why they are not looking at emergency funding for the time being, and therefore they have invited expression of interest, which has come as a surprise move from the lender's end.
All right, that's the latest coming in on Jet Airways. But let's move right on then and chat about stocks within the markets as well that are active. And there's Britannia, in fact, and that one seems to be bucking the general trend. What is the view, Swati, on the charts?
See, the overall view on the Britannia is a little bit cautious. As of now, it's just facing a strong resistance of its 50 days moving average, which comes to at around 3080 levels. From the last 2 to 3 trading sessions, we are seeing that it's not able to surpass that 50 days EMA, so which indicates a cautious signs at the current levels. And downside as of now, 2980, that is 2980, is acting as a very strong support level. So once it manages to give a breakdown of that level, then we might see that some selling pressure will likely to be intensified, which might take a stocks towards 2900 to 2850 odd levels. So those who are having any long positions, they can hold on, but definitely with the strict stop loss of a 2980 on a downside.
Okay, that's the take coming in, a fairly cautious view on Britannia. Meantime, Lakshmi Vilas Bank, and there's been lots talked about, Soumya, with the marriage between the company and Indiabulls Housing. What is the latest?
Well, yes, Avan, this was in fact ET Now exclusive that Indiabulls Housing would be picking up stake in Lakshmi Vilas Bank. But what's the latest update is their picks have picked up after Indiabulls has offered a better share swap ratio. Well, there were earlier talks that the company were not agreeing between the share swap. So now the talks have picked up post a revised share swap agreement.
All right, we'll have to see how that story shapes up. Lakshmi Vilas up a good 5%. M&M, and there's reason to celebrate on this one as the company's cumulative tractor sales have crossed the 3 million unit milestone, and this is not only this is, I think, one of the first Indian companies that has achieved the same. Remember, they rolled out their first tractor way back in 1963, so they've achieved that manufacturing milestone. The company has produced over 2 lakh tractors in 2018-19 alone, and in 2009 became the world's highest selling farm tractor brand by volume. That's the latest on M&M, 655 on the stock price. Meantime, let's talk about individual stocks from the banking space as well. And Yes Bank, what's the take? Swati, you believe it's a buy even at the current levels?
See, at the current level, I will not suggest to buy, but definitely the overall view is positive. The stock is just trading above its 200-day moving average, which indicates a very positive sign. In the last one and a half month, we have seen that the stock has given a very good rally from 170 to 280 odd levels, which indicates a very good sign. And even though the stock has a potential to move upward towards at least 300-320 levels on the upside, but at the current level, from the last 2 trading sessions, the bank Nifty has been witnessing some profit booking. So I will suggest to buy this particular Yes Bank, but on every dips towards 260 odd levels, whereas the cluster support lies at 250 odd levels. So one can take a buy call on every dips towards 260. One can keep a stop loss of a 250, and upside I'm looking for a target of a 300 and 310 levels on the upside.
Right, keep an eye out on that. Target price 300 on Yes Bank. Meantime, Soumya, Jyoti Laboratories is on the brokerage radar. What does Macquarie have to say about the stock?
Macquarie has initiated coverage on Jyoti Labs with the target price of 254 per share. Well, this initiating of outperformance stance is with a 37% upside, and this is due to the improvement in return ratios, which is the key for this re-rating. Well, they see that mid-cap FMCG valuations are discount to narrow, so they're maintaining an outperformance stance with a target price of 254 per share, stock gaining by 5%.
All right, that's the latest coming in on Jyoti Laboratories. In the meantime, let's pull up Balrampur Chini within the sugar basket. This one is gaining traction. In fact, the entire sugar basket is looking quite upbeat today. Balrampur Chini, as the board is going to meet to consider the proposal of buyback of the equity shares, and shareholders are also going to watch of the promoters' interest, whether they're going to participate in the buyback, the mode of the buyback, the open market purchase, whether it's going to be a tender process as well. And all of that is going to be fairly important to note. The stock really sweetening ahead of that news at 142. Let's move right on then. City Union Bank is the next stock to watch out for at number 8. A little bit tempered in trade today. What is your take, Swati?
See, as of now on the City Union Bank, the overall view is definitely positive, but we have witnessed on the weekly chart that the stock has found the double bottom at 208 odd levels. So as of now, it is facing a very strong resistance of 208 levels. If it manages to give a breakout of 208 level on the closing basis, definitely this rally is likely to be extended towards at least minimum 220 odd on the upsides. But at the current level, we are witnessing a profit, so I will suggest those who are having any long positions on every dips, they can just book their partial profits at the current levels, and for any fresh long positions, 190 levels will be a very good level to take a long call. So at the current level, I am suggesting a book a partial profit on every rise towards 208 levels.
Right, that's something to take note of on City Union. Meantime, then Zensar is a stock as well that's in focus. Take us through the reason, Soumya.
Tata Technology has started operation in Mexico and has expanded into the Latin American market. While talking about this development, their CEO Sandeep Kishore said that Mexico is a strategic choice for us due to its proximity to a key customer base in the US and availability of local talent. We are committed to investing in geographies that add to our global business growth and customer convenience. The stock gaining by 3.4% on the back of this news flow.
All right, that's the latest coming in. Meantime, it's Maruti as well, and that stock is in focus. In fact, the company has gone ahead and cut their overall production by around 21% in the month of March. They produced a total of 1.36 lakh units in March, and the production as well of their passenger vehicles that declined by nearly 20%. So barring vans, the company has reduced the production of all the other segments, including the big compact as well as utility segments. You have Credit Suisse, which has said that except OEMs, ex-Tata, most of the auto companies are likely to report a minor decline in revenues, and they believe that Maruti will face challenges to grow their EBITDA, but the stock continuing to hold out above the 7,000 mark. Meantime, then, it's Godrej Properties as well that is quite active in trade. Soumya.
Well, yes, Raman, the company seems to be on an expansion drive with this latest addition of a new residential project in Navi Mumbai. In fact, the stock has been focused for a couple of days for now. And the new Navi Mumbai project will offer approximately 47,000 square meters. Apart from this, the company has increased their stake in Wonder Space Properties Private Limited from 25% to 96%. Well, this stake has been acquired from Shubh Properties. Well, let me tell you, Wonder Space Properties is engaged in construction and development of land situated in NCR. The stock gaining by almost 4%.
Okay, let's take a quick break right here on the show. Be back with more. Points higher for the Nifty Bank. We're currently holding out in the green. It's the broader end of the market that's showing you far more fervor right now. But let's keep it with individual stocks. Amara Raja, that's been a newsmaker of late, and well, the latest news is coming in. Remember, you do have that Johnson Controls exit, which had put quite a bit of pressure on the stock price. In fact, on Friday's trading session, you saw the impact as well, kicking in down nearly 6%, down quite sharply after the company had terminated the shareholders' agreement between the Gala family and Johnson Controls, and other agreements by the company as well. In fact, the latest is that we understand that the Galas are likely to buy 2% stake from Johnson Controls in the company. The downward drift continues down 0.5%. Let's move right on then and focus in on Inox Leisure. In fact, that stock has been quite upbeat in trade from 300. It's up a good 15 bucks. Swati, do you believe that the traction is here to stay?
See, the overall view on the Inox is definitely positive from the last 3 to 4 months. If we check the charts also, it's just trending on it's trading in an upward direction at such upward rising channel. So it indicates a very strong technical parameters. As of now, if any dips comes towards 300, 305 odd levels, definitely it's a fresh buy call one can initiate on the downsides. I believe that upside it has a potential to reach up to at least 330 to 340 levels on the higher levels. So one can take a buy call on every dips towards 300. Downside they can maintain the stop loss of a 285, and for an immediate target of a 330 to 340 levels on the higher side.
On Inox, that's a stock that's quite upbeat in trade today. Well, let's move right on then. Cipla is a very smart mover in trade today, and Soumya, it has been some positive news.
Well, yes, a positive news coming in for the company. US FDA has completed the inspection of its Goa manufacturing facility, and the company has received the establishment inspection report indicating the closure of this entire inspection. And let me tell you, this inspection was conducted by US FDA from January 21 to January 28. The stock has been gaining on back of this news flow.
All right, that's the latest coming in on Cipla, which is upbeat in trade today. Well, let's move right on then, and it's Aditya Birla Fashion that's in focus. Goldman Sachs, incidentally, has a buy rating, and they've got a target price of 249 rupees. They believe that it's a buy given that they are projecting a 54% EPS CAGR from FY18 to 21, and they believe that the stock trades at nearly 19 times FY20 EV EBITDA discount. Aditya Birla Fashion, though, little tempered in trade today at 220. Moving on then, Sri Renuka, and yes, Swati, we're seeing quite a bit of sweetness in the entire sugar pack, Sri Renuka included. What is your assessment? A flash in the pan move?
Yeah, today we have seen a good momentum of rally in the Renuka. As of now, it is currently up by 11 to 12%. The interesting fact is that after from last 4 to 5 months of trading session, the stock is managed to surpass its 200-day moving average, which comes to at 12 odd levels. Now, at the current level, we need to just keep an eye on whether it's maintaining a closing about 12 rupees or not. If it's manages to that level on the closing basis, definitely this rally or the fresh buying can be seen, which might take a stock towards 15 to 16 rupees rupees on higher level, whereas on the downside 10.5211 levels will act as a very crucial support levels. So one can take a fresh buy call only about 12 rupees if it manages to give a closing today on a closing basis. Then one can look for a target of 15 to 16 levels on the higher leg, and one can keep a stop loss of 10.50 levels on the downside.
Levels to map out before buying into Sri Renuka. Meantime, Titan not seeing quite the sparkle, but there is news to cheer, Soumya.
Well, yes, a little sales update coming in from the company. They say that the sales grew by 21% in FY19, with the jewelry sales business growing by almost more than 22% on a year-on-year basis. Carat lane operations also saw 42% growth in FY19, while the watches division grew at 16%. These watches division also added 64 stores in FY19. Apart from this, the management has guided at 20% growth for FY20. The stock, although is gaining, but slightly by just by 0.2%.
All right, that's the take coming in. Meantime, DHFL as well is quite upbeat. Let's get in your take then, Swati, on the charts on DHFL.
See, DHFL, we have seen a good momentum in this particular counter, but as of now we have seen 163, 164 level is acting as a strong resistance level. Once it manages to give a breakout level, I believe definitely 175, 180 are the likely targets. So definitely those who are having any long positions, they can hold on immediate support levels lies at 155 all levels. So one can definitely hold their longs with a stop loss for 155. I'm looking for a target of a 175 to 180 levels on the upside.
175, 180 on the cards for DHFL. Well, let's move right on then, and now you officially have the earnings season trickling in. Q4 numbers from GM Breweries, Soumya.
Well, yes, the company reported their Q4 numbers post-market hours yesterday. The revenues grew up by 4.8% and were nearly at 118 crore rupees, while the PAT was down by over 2%, and the margins also contracted from 29.6% to 23.7%. Well, these margins were impacted due on account of rising material cost, while the EBITDA was down by 16% and stood at 27.9%. 27.9 crore versus 33.26 crore. Well, this is all on a year-on-year basis.
Okay, that's the set of numbers from GM Breweries. Meantime, Canfin Homes is up a good 4% in trade today, and Swati, you have a fairly positive view?
Yes, definitely. The overall view on the Canfin Home is definitely positive. In the last 15 to 20 trading session, we have seen that the stock has given a breakout of 200-day moving average, which comes to 300 all levels, and we have seen a non-stop rally from 300 to 360 levels. At the current level, I believe that we might see some profit bookings on a higher side, so one can take definitely book their partial profits at the current level. Whereas I'm seeing an upside target if it manages to give a breakout of again 365, 363 levels, then 380 to 385 are the likely targets. So those who are having a long positions, they can book their partial profit at the current level, and second partial they can hold on with a stop loss of a 345 levels on the downside for immediate target of a 380 to 390 on high levels.
Alright, there you have it. That's the take coming in on Canfin Homes. And finally, Soumya, let's talk about Hindustan Copper.
Well, FY19 copper core output stood at 41.22 lakh tons. In fact, this is best in the last 20 years and has clocked in 12% growth than the last fiscal year. Apart from this, the ore production of the flagship unit of HCL Malajkand, the copper project, has been at an all-time high of 25.42 lakh tons during this fiscal year. The stock gaining by almost 2%.
All right, there you have it. That's the latest coming in on Hindustan Copper. But on that note, we're completely timed out. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Stay tuned for Markets at Noon. That's coming up next.